This video will go through every weapon, enemy, chapter, and overall my personal experience with this game, and will 100% spoil nearly everything the game has to offer. So I 100% recommend coughing up $20 and playing the game for yourself if you have a VR headset. So with that out of the way, let's talk about... You start off as Sonya, the main character of the game. In the intro, you see a poor cat get immediately vaporized and a car drives on top of the atomized cat's nothingness. You finally step out and there's a cabin ahead with a key in it. You unlock the door, walk in, light the fireplace, and it turns black. That's it. Just kidding. The mountain near you for some reason turns purple and it starts to expand, and boom, you're somewhere where, what, honestly, I have no clue. Some weird human Maui something hybrid takes a green orb from you, touches it, and gives it back. Then, flashbang, you're now in a Planck research facility. If you look left, you can find a door with a valve. Once the door is open, you hear screaming, but thankfully it's just a video recording of a dude getting stuck in a wall and dying brutally.
Is that a dead body?
On his corpse belongs a space-time manipulator, the first item in this game. This item, which I'm going to call the STM from now on, allows the user to teleport short distances and solve puzzles. And is in general a movement tool, and it can absorb the goop blobs that are around the facility, which can be used to upgrade items. Also, those same goop blobs are actually known as quantum juice, but come on, it's orange goop. However, when you try to leave, you are met with a robot who has been standing there for exactly 450 days waiting for the dude back there to evacuate. But when it scanned me, it found out that I'm an exoproximal, and this clanker immediately called security and I had to skedaddle. And the security drones, they're called MK2 security drones. This dude has two tiny pea shooters which honestly deal 0 damage and fly very slowly. And after you escape that totally life or death situation, there's a kinetic generator nearby that's jammed. But it's jammed the first weapon in the game, a stun baton. The stun baton is a regular melee weapon which deals plenty of damage and has a unique ability to reflect enemy shots, and really made me feel like Civil Protection from Half-Life. But the moment you pick it up, you get surrounded by more drones, but you can literally escape using the hydraulic pillars in the room, and not even have to deal with them. There's also another enemy, who I call Krabby. They're actually called mud runners, but I don't care. This is just a crab, nothing special. Hey, and all these crabs do is just kinda bite you, and honestly, fuck these things! Past that, there's an incinerator room, which did get me a few times, and finally found an elevator, which then broke down, even though I'm literally floating. Then I entered a massive cave system and was proceeding to talk massive shit, then I got utterly terrified.
Holy fucking shit, never mind. What the fuck is this, bro? What the fuck? Oh, there's a path.
Then I had to climb up a ladder. Wait, this reminds me of when you can't even say my name. As the man went through a tight crevice and saw a handyman contemplating something, then a fucking Leviathan appeared.
I am the spy.
Oh, man. Why can't I leave? Why can't I leave? Oh, shit! Oh, fuck! Oh.
And honestly, this utterly terrified like me. Come on, I didn't even have a gun! This thing is the first boss fight in the entire game, and all you have to do is whack its tentacles away and shoot it at it with its own projectiles. And after one honestly mid-boss fight and trauma, I went up an elevator and opened the door, backstabbed some poor robot like I'm the spy from TF2, and took a ride and the first actual firearm in the game. And in my playthrough, I completely ignored the dinosaur bones on the right and immediately started shooting the crab children around the dead body. And the gun, it looks like a Rec Room gun, and it fires plasma, and at the very beginning of the game, it really doesn't do that much damage, so a lot of the earlier parts, I mainly just used the baton, but when you get the damage upgrades for it, it becomes a really fun weapon to use, because it becomes a middle ground of not too many shots, but not too little in order to kill. And used it even though I had better options, just because it added that right amount of difficulty. And also, remember that bot previously? Yeah, those are MK3 security drones, humanoid clumsy little guys with a laser pistol and a shock baton. But unfortunately for them, I'm Aiden Walker in this facility. But after getting the gun, I ended up in some giant vat place. Kinda reminds me of another giant vat place. And there are these control stations, and you had to crank every single valve and lever, which I forgot on the first time and had to backtrack to pull every single lever again. And if you have the DLC installed, you can get the shotgun, which honestly is another really fun weapon, and really changed on how I played combat. Often using both the baton and shotgun to obliterate enemies, and it also has this unique charge mechanic in which after holding the trigger for a few seconds, you can fire one big blast or fire 3 smaller blasts. And after every lever was pulled and the bridge at the center was fully extended, I got to the center and finally left this place, and yep, that's it, see ya. Nah, just kidding. A giant security drum named Richard decided to put me in a bubble and plop me down, and honestly, after playing Subnautica, I was utterly terrified that a ghost leviathan would appear and decimate me. But fortunately, wait, what is that? Yeah, did I mention I got my dumbass out of bounds and got utterly terrified by some utter abomination? Yeah, it turns out it was for a different scene that I just hadn't bothered getting to, which also jump scared me. Dude! Anyways, had to shoot these 2 vials filled with green goop, and was finally able to use a giant elevator and leave, but Richard decided to pull up and probably get his neck snapped by a beam. And honestly, even I was shocked by this scene. Went through a tube and was in this kind of Boneworks inspired place, and learned of someone called Cowboy, and apparently he was running from Poe the Teletubby. And learned of something called the Aether, apparently it's some sort of sanctuary. And on my second playthrough, I was just chilling here until... So listen up, folk, we currently need some live audience participation. So if you see a weird blue Dorito man, what is the first thing you should do? Is it A, look at it, B, run away, C, give him some rations, or D, all of the above? I will give you 5 seconds to pick your answer. Actually, it's none of those. Instead, I 200 pumped his blue ass. Like, come on, it's so obvious. I can't believe you didn't think of that. Honestly, I did not know why shooting him was a good idea when he just literally ripped apart a sewer grate, but anyway, fell down a grate and saw the cutest little robot dog thing ever. I mean, look at it! Isn't it adorable? But, unfortunately...
Oh! Ah! You were my son! Why would you do that to me?
Little fucking guy here. There are actually 2 variants of this guy. The white one is kinda like a head crab, while the red one just fucking rams into you and explodes. But after another traumatizing event, I had to avoid these scanners, which, yeah, thankfully I didn't get caught, unlike that poor handy fella. I had to deal with some security drones, avoid more scanners, and do this annoying ass time-based puzzle, and what do I get? Jack shit. Past that point, I was inside this giant turbine thing. I honestly had no clue what this is and fell and died. And the next level...
Do you like my sword, my diamonds?
Honestly felt like it came straight out of a horror movie. First thing was that some blob was looking at me and immediately scurried away. I was on edge, but then I saw the 2 cute tiny little black blobs named Wesley and Agatha. Said hi to Wesley and Agatha, then the second boss fight of the game, the giant enemy eyeball. Shot that bastard 3 missiles after dying multiple times, and honestly, skill issue. Got flashbanged again, and for some reason he turned into a child, then I proceeded to keep him as a friend. Left and went to the next level, and I didn't know how to use a goddamn escalator. Here you can find another weapon with the DLC, and honestly, this one's really cool, and design-wise, it kinda reminds me of a plasma caster. But it fires this giant laser beam, but it really didn't do that much damage, so I just simply put it in my inventory and rarely used it. There's also this monorail in which you have to turn on the power to use it. However, in the control station room, there's this little cube thingy and its eggs, but it attacked me, so in self-defense, I shot it with a 12 gauge. However, internal security appears the moment you activated it, then died and lost Frankie.
My baby!
Ah! However, on my second playthrough, I made sure that didn't happen. However, you'd think the ride would be cool, but in reality, it's really motion sick inducing. Like, I've really felt awful. However, after that god-awful ride, I learned of a little robot known as Officer 4 was trying to kill me and deployed heavy security, which we will see very soon. Got some goop in the bathrooms and spent 10 minutes in one simple puzzle because my dumbass didn't upgrade anything because I messed up my controls somehow, which didn't allow me to open the upgrade menu. However, after that puzzle and some new robot enemies, which I'ma just simply call riflemen, who are kind of like the security drone MK3s, but with a rifle instead of a pistol and baton. However, immediately after this encounter, we get another weapon. The SMG/rifle thingy. This weapon, which I'm going to refer to as a combi weapon, is both an SMG and AR with a slider that can either elongate the barrel or shrink it. It has an SMG mode in which it fires automatically with many rounds but deals low damage. However, with the explosive rounds upgrade, it's really good at dealing with hordes. In the other mode, it essentially turns the gun into a sniper rifle. The scope magnifies in rifle mode and deals a lot more damage, but in the exchange of fire rate and fewer rounds. However, with a few damage upgrades, it can one-tap the MK2 drones and even MK3s and riflemen with a headshot. And I didn't need to worry long to try it out because the heavy security decided to show up, and damn, this guy was tough. The first time in my playthrough, I called him Big Boy. Big Boy has 2 cannon arms, which can also function as miniguns, and will gladly smear your guts on the wall if you get too close to them. And after like 4 tries, I finally took him out, but after that, I went up an elevator and had to deal with multiple security drones and even 2 big boys. After that close encounter, I was chillin', walking, floating, whatever, on a bridge until a new enemy, which I'm gonna call Launchy, decided to blow up the bridge and continue to send grenades on my way. Yeah, Launchy is a moving grenade launcher which floats. However, it is really slow, but kinda tanky. So normally when I saw him, I would target him because it deals the most damage in one hit. Dealt with him, but honestly, at this point, I really wasn't having fun on my first playthrough. Mostly my fault because I didn't know the quantum juice was there to upgrade your weapons, but after I figured that out, honestly, the game became a million times more fun, and there was this new enemy, which I'm gonna call the Death Beam Turret, which the moment it spotted me, I got utterly incinerated. And yeah, it just spins in circles. It's really easy to avoid actually. Went on a cable car and encountered a mini-boss, Blue Big Boy, who shot down my cable car and was able to shoot these laser blasts and had these... Oh, wait, he kind of died really quick. Well, anyway, I hopped on the plane that he was guarding and immediately crashed it. Let's go! Somehow, I was fine. Backstabbed the poor clinker, nearly got incinerated, tried entering VR in VR and interrupted some speech in the auditorium. Then we went on to the next part of the game, the Toxic Maze. This entire area is covered in this toxic gas which kills you if you stay in it too long. And I had to go through all of this just to get an orange keycard which I needed to escape. But when I died, I learned of an exploit which allowed me to get the upgrades I missed out previously. It's honestly really simple. First, you find a checkpoint. Then after that, you find some goop, take it, then just die. You go back to your checkpoint and the goop will respawn while keeping the goop that you already have. However, I accidentally got more goop than I needed, so I ended up being maxed out way early on. But when I got the orange keycard, the entire way back was filled with a lot of enemies, so I had to deal with them. And when I finally unlocked the door, I had to climb up a ladder, turn 4 valves, and was finally able to clear the toxic gas. And was finally able to leave this area and went to the next area of the game. But when I tried going for a security door, it blocked me. And tried going for the luggage department, but kinda got my atoms shrunk, which made the little robo doggies and the MK3 drones a lot harder to deal with. But I got a good amount of goop in this level, and it really isn't that special, just kinda had to find a big card and leave. However, the next segment is honestly quite cool. After opening the door, I entered a cave system that was in control by the mud runners or crabbies. I also encountered a new enemy only for this level, the soldier crab, which just simply has spikes and runs into you. Yeah. I also needed these larvae crabbies in order to open this door, but I don't know why the moment I saw one, I kinda did this. Fucking... There was also a jigsaw puzzle in which you had to do it in order to get the rest of the larvae, and what does the door reveal? A bone cage, and now you're gonna get sacrificed to the crab queen. And this boss fight is the coolest fight I've ever done in VR. It's just the fact that you have to manage multiple things at once. It really felt badass dual wielding weapons just to fight the pawns that she summons and dealing with her laser eyes at the same time. And the fight was actually quite difficult, and I died once and nearly died several times fighting it. And when you finally defeat her, a giant spike drops down and yeah, and everything kind of goes splat. Walked on top of the spike and was going to go on top of a bridge before it— oh shit!
I'm fine, right?
I'm still here where I needed to be. There's actually a matter decompressor nearby, which is kind of lucky. That returned me to full size. Then we finally got near the surface. But during the elevator ride, Officer 4 mentioned something about a skybreak protocol if we ever reach the surface. Probably nothing important. And after the elevator ride, we get the second last weapon in the game, a fucking grenade launcher.
God. Wait, is that a fucking grenade launcher?
I am now the Demo Man TF2. After dealing with a few riflemen and the robots in the hangar, I found this little alien thing called the Cerebrosaurus Sagax. But it's still cool nonetheless. But in order to continue on, there were these levers in which if one was pulled, it would direct you to the next one and so on and so forth until every lever was pulled. and it would open a door to a cavern with a Minecraft minecart inside. So after cranking another lever around and around again, and one flashbang explosion, I broke into the lobby and was immediately met by a machine gun turret and several security bots. However, if you get behind the turret, you can actually pick up the gun, and here's my reaction to the last weapon in the game.
Fucking minigun.
And yeah, being the last weapon in the game, it's the strongest, having an insane fire rate and the damage comparable to a pistol per shot. Its design is similar to that of the M61 Vulcan minigun, and with this and a grenade launcher, and after passing several rooms filled with bots, we finally reached the end, the elevator to the surface. And you think that's the end? No, unfortunately not. Officer 4 captures us using the same bubble that Richard uses and was planning to send us into molten iron, but before that happens, a person called Business Andy saves us. And he informs us that if we ever leave the facility, the Skybreak protocol will activate and the entire facility will get decimated in an orbital bombardment. So he ends up sending us straight down to the waste disposal grounds. And to add insult to injury, he says if we ever seek the surface, he's gonna kill us. So, yeah. That's the end of this entire game. So, overall, Vertigo Remastered is a good and fun game. It's got cool weapons, it's fairly priced, it has interesting enemies and fun bosses as well, and the STM movement mechanics and weapons like the shotgun and combi weapon having multiple ways to use them are really fun. However, there really isn't that much in terms of story other than the facility logs, and the main premise is just you trying to leave and get back to your original dimension. So, overall rating, I'd say 80 goops out of 50 upgrades. So that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed and want to see more, click here and beat the subscribe button and also bash the notifications. Also leave a like and comment so this video gets boosted to the algorithm, as I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers before the end of January, so let's hopefully hit that. Also, if you have any extra info or simply want to ask a question, leave it down in the comments or join my Discord server. And if you're wondering, no, I'm not done with Vertigo. I plan to release 2 more videos about this game, about, Vertigo 2, but I will split that into 2 parts so it doesn't take me 50 years to create. So, that's it. Beeper out.